Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 4 vs 4 on Colombelles, and in this one I'm going to be playing with the 716th Infantry Division. Lovely jubbly. We're also going to be playing with Schmitty once again, who's going to be using the Panzerlehr. Then we're playing with Rinos, who's going to be using the 116th Panzer, and Scuba, who's using the 17th SS Panzer Grenadiers. We're playing against a 4th Armoured, 1st Panzerner, Guards Armoured and 6th Airborne. So plenty of variants of divisions in this one. So as you can see, I've already put down my marker. I'm actually going to turn it to my point of view and we will talk through the strategy at the start of this one. So basically I'm going to be pushing towards this factory area. Schmitty wanted to play around with a triple Puma push on the far left, so I was left to kind of defend the factory to the far right side, and then we'll have Rinos in the mid and also Scuba on the far right. So it's basically split in 3 between all us lot, and then Schmitty is just going to be taking the far left, and that's how we decided to play it. So I'm actually focusing quite a lot on these MG34s at the start. I moved one over to the left to assist Schmitty. He asked if I could put one into these sort of hangar areas, so I decided to give him one at the start. And then the rest of them will be heading towards the main factory area to sort of create a crossfire and maybe control our side of the factory. Now generally the opponent shouldn't really let you get into this area. They should sort of stop you here and just over here as well, and then you should be sort of forced to be here instead, because the halfway line is here. If you control any land past that on the factory, it's actually quite a big deal, because it's very hard to stop you basically causing a frontline presence throughout the game. And so basically I'm going to be trying to go for that push, secure my position here, and if I do, then we're going to be in a good position for the rest of the game. So that's what I was looking for. Pak 40 is going to be used on the right side in this tree line. I've also got a couple of IG-18s I've been putting down, and of course command infantry to give me the extra command stars. I did bring in one of the smaller packs here as well on the left side, to assist us if we came across any half-tracks or light armoured vehicles like Tetrarchs and so on. For example, if I was going to be up against the 6th Airborne, then the Tetrarchs might be quite hard to deal with. So yeah, going to be using the pack to deal with those. Okay, let's just speed it up a bit and get this deployment out of the way. As again, it did take a little while, since we were waiting for everyone to get their units down. But either way, IG-18 there with the command infantry. That command infantry is assisting the Pak 40. I've also got the recon to allow that to have targets. And I've got the rest of my units kind of spreading out into this factory area. Got MG and an Osttroopen squad actually pushing up to this compound on the left side of the factory, because I just wanted to try and make ground everywhere I could, rather than just in the factory itself, because there's loads of buildings like either side of the factory that can become very strategic throughout the game. So Schmitty's already started here. I zoomed in on this tank and found out it was a Hellcat. He could probably rush that down with his Pumas if he does it correctly, so I was kind of waiting for him to do that. On the main road we do see Anderson coming down here with the Cromwell and the Stuart. Pak 40 is in a decent position there to help us out. My infantry is kind of getting towards the factory here, which is great. IG-18 does take a quick shot from the Hellcat, but manages to not take it directly, so doesn't lose any health. Osttrooper moving up there, and Pak 37 has arrived. So yeah, they've conceded the factory really on our side of things, which is good for us. Just got to consolidate down the road here, and we should be fine. With the Pak 40 in position though, and the IG-18 to help, we should be able to deal with a lot of these units quite nicely. Now the 6-pounder does take out the Colombelles MG, But the IG and Pak-40 combo is going to make short work of the 6-pounder, as well as the recon infantry and the Vickers there, and that should allow us to basically start to push back. IG-18 hits the recon there as they were about to go into cover, so I actually get that kill straight away. And the Vickers there also going to be pinned down. Not much chance for them, and with them being pinned down and eventually taken out, kind of levels out the playing field on my side of things. Now on this left side, Schmitty pokes his head round. I believe he killed off the Hellcat quite nicely and is now running down some rifles which are left over. My MG34 and Osttruppen managed to pin down some rifles in the open on this left side, but now we have to deal with the B-26B Marauder, which has been brought up to harass my support units. So I decided to bring in the ME-109 to kind of counter that. Now I'm not entirely convinced that the ME-109 is going to shoot it down from the get-go. I kind of just bring it in to force the B-26B Marauder to fall back, and then once it has, I can be safe in knowing that my IG-18s can keep firing. Now from this left side, Schmitty's Puma does get the engine destroy onto the M4 105mm, as well as causes a fallback there. So that's really good, because by killing that, it's freed up the use of my IG-18s again, which have been providing some form of fire support onto the infantry in the center factory area. And with all this delay, I have been able to bring up my reinforcements, although I am kind of severely outnumbered here at the moment. But with these Osttruppen arriving, that should turn around. We've just picked up the +1 now. Schmitty making a lot of ground on this left side, now coming up against a Hellcat, and there's a Morris LLC coming down the road. Whoever uses these, well, very brave man. Boys AT rifle. I mean, it can kill some stuff. The Hellcat there going to be taking out one of the Pumas at least. Now, bit of a push coming up. Kill off one of my Osttruppen. I do bump into the command infantry there, but they're going to be taken out by the IG. I drop out the Osttruppen into the same building as the Vickers. And the Vickers at close range just don't really stand a chance, so the Osttruppen going to be winning that engagement quite handily. My MG34 does finally go down. The Pak-40 is being harassed by the Hurricane. So yeah, a lot going on that I have to keep track of. My MG34 just kind of hanging out for the rest of the game in that hangar. Got IG-18 back there, probably could have started rolling that forwards. But I'm just really focused on the infantry engagement in the town at the moment, and trying to take care of any command infantry. Just took out another one there, which is quite a big deal. So MG coming up to assist, and if I can get that into one of those buildings, we'll have a good firing line across the enemy side of the factory. We're going to be trying to go for that. Now, with the 716th, you're not actually that well equipped to take these sort of close range engagements. It's fine when you can get the IG-18s into line of sight without them being fired upon by enemy machine guns and so on. But generally you'd want something like Fallschirmjägers in this factory in particular, because they can get both of their MGs on target with the rest of their 300-meter range armament basically. Whereas in this case I'm using Osttruppen, which not only have the dishearten trait, but only have like one MG and not that great HE at close range. So yeah, it's not the most ideal place for the 716th, but yeah, using the IG-18s correctly, you can definitely do a decent amount of damage. They should really have their own mortars, honestly. That's what you could easily use to counter what I'm doing here, but my opponent's basically choosing not to. Pak-40 going to be hammering some of the opposing infantry as we can see it. We are going to be hit by the enemy Stuarts here. That's not too bad. IG-18 going to be taking out the Dragoni there. And we're going to be moving on to the armoured leader and the rifles. Now if we can take out the armoured leader, then of course these rifles would just surrender. So I'm kind of just bypassing these rifles at the moment. As long as they're pinned down, they're not actually going to fire back, so that works well for me. More Osttrooping getting into position. I've also now got a Flak 88 rolling up, and that has been given an unload at position command, basically in this factory, so that I can try and pick off some of the tanks and fire support that they brought up. There is of course these Hurricanes hanging about, so they're going to come in with their Hispano cannons and take out the Pak 37. And yeah, I don't really have too much AA on the division at the moment, other than these Flak 88s, so just kind of relying on that. Probably shouldn't have played it so aggressively, knowing that it was really my only AA in Phase A, because then I could have maybe made those Hurricanes fall back earlier on. But at the moment I'm pretty solid with my position in the factory. I did unfortunately lose the IG-18, but the Pak 40 is still doing a lot of damage. I've moved up the Flak 88 to try and get line of sight onto the mortar carrier there, because I know that that's a big threat to what I want to do. Now my 88 does actually hit the mortar carrier, but only gets an engine destroy, then proceeds to get pinned down by the enemy Stuart and Cromwell. And we also have the B-26B Marauder come in as well, and with all the direct hits coming along, as well as a second B-26B Marauder, I lose my Flak 88 early on. Now bring in the MU-109G0 to kind of try and force these B-26Bs to fall back, but the opposite happens as the second B-26B gets on target. Fortunately, the guns on the B-26B Marauder don't do too much, so I actually managed to get away with my MU-109, which was pretty damn incredible, honestly. You can see that it did get out and is repairing. However, B-26B Marauder is still really annoying. Going to be taking out the Pak 37 on the left side, which has basically been helping kill off a bunch of Cromwells, Hellcats and Tetrarchs over here. We do see the command, or the Cromwell, sorry, go down there. And now I'm being pushed very hard in this factory. Steve Budd moving up with his rifles, kind of pushing ahead of his teammates' fire support here, and causing me quite a lot of issues. So I think since Smitty caused quite a lot of disruption on the left side, Steve Budd kind of decided to help Anderson by using his infantry to help push through, and that basically forced me to like fall back here. As you can see, I moved my Grenadier back to save the command, and I also moved back a couple of these Osttruppen so that I could cover anything if it tried to cross out in the open. Now my SDKFZ7 does go down, trying to provide some MG support, but I'm basically in a situation where I just don't want them to push towards me. They could at this point push towards me and kind of be fine, because if these are pinned down, they should just end up making them surrender. But my opponent fortunately didn't choose to, so I've got a couple of reinforcements on the way. I'm just hoping that they can get to the front line in time. Meanwhile, Pak 37 is going to be taken out there. They were focusing on my AT guns so badly with these strafing planes. These Hurricanes and the B-26B Marauders really doing a lot of damage throughout. Pak 40 on the right side, still chilling in the edge of this tree line. Brought up the Opel Blitz munition to recharge some of the HE shells for that Pak 40, but I now have a Panzer B2 on the way. And since all of their armour is outside of the town, or to the left of the town, I'm going to be bringing in my Panzer B2 to the right side of the factory in order to be able to basically provide some fire support onto these armoured LMG rifles and the half tracks, and basically stop me from being overrun. Now even if these tanks come into line of sight with the B2, we should be able to do quite a lot of damage with it, but here these Osttroopen arrive just in time to help me pin down some of these armoured LMG rifles as they move up. Now B2 going to be hitting those rifles there, and these armoured LMG rifles very low on morale. As there is no command nearby, I'm going to be forced to surrender, and that mainly comes down to the fact that I killed all of that infantry command very early on. Now at this point we are running the 60% territory lead +2, since it seems as though Rinos managed to push through very hard onto the Guards armoured player. Scuba not having so much of a good time on the far right side, but I'm definitely doing a decent job in the factory, and here a lovely shot from my B2 takes out one of the enemy Cromwells. So now it's just a matter of using the B2 to clean up the rest of the units in the factory, take out that half track and run down these armoured LMG rifles. It's all working out very nicely. Now this B2, because it's not open top, can't be destroyed by any of the infantry that's currently against us, and Steve Budd's kind of had enough and is going to surrender. So he was bringing in more reinforcements on the left side, but now it's all under the command of the AI. Now it's just a matter of Anderson trying to do the job, but he doesn't think that he can do it, and he's going to surrender as well. Now at this point I was kind of, I don't know, wary of all of the opponents kind of surrendering like this. As you can see, the Guards armor player going as well. Now for the Guards armor player, I guess it made a bit more sense because he was kind of struggling pretty bad, but still, with all of that air force about, the B-26Bs, the Hurricanes and so on, he was really doing a lot of damage to my support weapons, and I think with a bit more of a concerted infantry push supported by mortars, they could have maybe taken the factory entirely. Over on this right side as well, you can see that although there has just been an artillery strike come in here, this Cromwell 7 could easily take on the Panzer III here, and also the Pak-38. Now it might struggle against the Stroke 3, but as you can see they've managed to pin that down with their own artillery anyway, so maybe the Guards armoured player had a lot more of a chance than he thought, and generally I would tell most people to almost never give up, because there's always opportunity to come back in games. Now the IG-18 here going to be engaging the enemy Stuart, helping to pin that down. Not really ever going to get the kill there, but that's a pretty nice engagement to allow something else to come in and pick up the kill. So my reinforcing infantry is arriving into the factory. They have their own reinforcing infantry arriving. Here goes my Wehrflammen. They just brought in a bunch of armoured rifles, normal rifles, and the half tracks and stuff there, and Wehrflammen hits the mark. It doesn't necessarily land in the middle of all of this infantry, which would have been ideal, but definitely like flames the paths going into the buildings, which gives my B2 a little bit more time to cut them all off. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there, as well as obviously time to bring in some more reinforcements, because I don't have a particularly large amount of infantry hanging about at the moment. So the B2 moving up, now able to get line of sight onto the mortar carrier there on this right side. The Tetrarch's moving across straight into the line of sight of my Pak-40. And with only one opponent remaining on the enemy side, it's just a matter of holding the ground against the AI spam, and we should win the game. +2 currently, 62% territory lead, 12 minutes until victory. Popping back to my point of view, you can see that I can see a lot of the units I'm up against. B2 now engaging the Stuart 5 there. Now the shooter is going to get knocked out, and that means that it's going to continue on its move order. And that's actually kind of a good thing, because that Stuart 5 at that range could probably penetrate the Panzer B2. But over here, the B2 can just kind of do what it wants. There's nothing really contesting it. It's just a bunch of infantry There's also the M12 GMC there. I have no idea why this M12 GMC was here, because I mean it's in range of AT. It should never be. It's got 4,000 range, for God's sake. Probably the AI making that happen, but either way was very odd. Rinos managed to get through here with the Flampanzer, and I'm going to be backing that up later on, but I've also got my 2 B2s on the way to reinforce the initial one, which has done an absolute ton of damage to enemy units. Got an ME109G6R6 to join my ME109G0, and that's going to create a little bit of a fighter duo that I can leave out and use to shoot down enemy planes. Verflammen is reloaded, moving back into position, and what I was hoping to do with it was kind of pin down this Hellcat and then maybe charge it with the Panzer B2, because over on this left side I almost get a nice shot onto this 6-pounder here with the main gun, but with both the Hellcat and the 6-pounder on target, the B2 is going to be going down. I come in just a little bit late to pin down the 6-pounder there. Probably should have also focused the Hellcat. So one of my B2s does come down as it reinforces, but one's now moved up on the right side. Enemy Hurricane's going to be coming up. I'm actually going to be able to turn into that with my fighter duo. And job done. Hurricane down. So B2 just hanging around on the edge of the factory here, and what that's allowing me to do is just focus down these infantry targets, as well as the M5A1 all the way back there, which is my current target. Now the Verflammen does the job. Both the Stuart and the Hellcat get forced back there. And I was hoping to maybe move out the B2 to engage the Hellcat, but then I saw another Hellcat arrive, so just let that engagement continue with the M5A1. On the left side, Smitty struggling a little bit as a lot of pressure starts to come in from the Cromwells M4A1 76mm, M5A1s and the Recon Stuarts. But yeah, +2, not too much the opponents can do, and I'm managing to even get this Fusilier squad all the way through that salient. Now the tracks were broken on the Panzer B2 over here, which was kind of annoying because it left it out of range of a lot of stuff and out of line of sight as well. But this B2 on the left side is still doing absolute work, using up a lot of its ammunition on its 9HE howitzer, as well as its main gun, of course. And we do have the 2 Flak 88s, and those are basically to help control the sky. On the left side you can see that Schmitty invested in a lot of Gepards, and is going to be going for a Panzerwerfer strike here, as well as trying to shoot down that B-26B. But after 20 minutes and 13 seconds, the last player on the enemy team surrenders, and that's basically victory. And one thing I really wanted to point out in this game was just how quickly the opponents gave up when they probably didn't need to. I reckon they probably could have kept fighting on for quite a significant amount of time. You can see that the KDs were quite even for both Anderson and Steve Budd. If you sort of remove some of the AI suicides there, they might have even been positive. I think what just ended up happening was they overestimated the amount of troops that I had, because I was able to bring in a lot of those Osttruppen to sort of hold the line whilst I backed it up with other things. Because whilst I was playing, I felt stretched quite a lot by especially the air attack, the constant harassment from the Hurricanes and B-26Bs throughout that game. But in general, team doing well. I got 1,518 kills to 865 losses. Rinos doing okay. Scuba there with another sort of 2-to-1 KD. Smitty lost probably a little bit more than he probably should have, but still positive KD at the end of the day. And if we just have a quick look at some of the kills, Pack 40, that was in the mid, just didn't get targeted by a mortar or anything for the majority of the games. It picked up a lovely amount of kills. IG-18's doing the job there. Ostrupen picking up their fair share of kills. And then we have this Panzer B2 that I brought in and absolutely wrecked so many of those half tracks and infantry squads. It was brilliant. I probably should have brought in one of those a little bit earlier on, but either way, the timing there was fine. As for the Wehrflammen, didn't pick up many kills, but definitely landed a decent strike, which slowed down the reinforcements of infantry into that factory, and basically made the AI rethink its pathing, which was good. And that's pretty much it. The Stuart did claim the kill onto the Flak 88, which is funny, and that is all. So hopefully you guys enjoy this quick game. Sorry it's not the best game, but didn't have time to record for you guys anything better today. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.